Hello everyone, this is Christos Palaskas. In this video, I will show you how to connect your MetaMask with our EVM sidechain testnet, how to create an account and fund it, how to create a Mainchain account and fund it, and how to transfer tokens from the sidechain to the Mainchain, active flow, and from the Mainchain to the sidechain, passive flow. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. The first thing we need to do is connect our MetaMask to our EVM sidechain testnet. To do that, we have to add network, go to networks, and I already have it added, but you need to add this URL, validator sidechain EVM testnet ihkdev.io or faucet instead of validator. The chain ID is 78. The currency symbol can be anything you want. I have sidechain token, and then you click add. But I'll just cancel because I have it already. Once we're connected to our testnet, we create a new account. Account 7. And now we have to go and fund it. So we copy the address from here and we go to our faucet and paste it. And then we agree to the terms and conditions to the privacy policy. And we acknowledge that this token has no real economic value. We request, and then after a few seconds, we will see here that the value has increased by 1 token. Any second now, yeah, there you go. So that is how we fund our sidechain account. The next step is to create a Mainchain account. You can use any of the known wallets to do that, or you can use Cardano CLI. I will use Cardano CLI as it is easier to demonstrate here. So we need the command address keygen. It generates a payment V key and a payment S key. And then with those inputs, we are going to generate an address. So we're going to get the address from here. And then we're going to go to our Cardano testnet faucet, prove that we're not robots, and paste our address and request some tokens. So 1,000 tokens have been credited to our newly created account. Now, if we want to query the blockchain to see our balance on that address, we have to have a Cardano node running. I will just show the command. We query the UTXO of our address with testnet magic 7, and we can see that we have received 1,000 million Lovelace or 1,000 test data. The next thing we have to do is to lock some tokens from the sidechain account in order to be able to claim them on the Mainchain account. To do that, we need Remix IDE, and we have to load the bridge API from the sidechain's tooling Git repo. So we go to the bridge API, we copy, then we go to Remix, we go to our files, create new file, let's name it bridge API. We paste the contents, and now we are ready to use it. First, we have to connect to our testnet. So we go to this deploy and run transactions, and we change the environment into the injected provider, which is connected through MetaMask to our testnet. And we have one Ether. And now we need to notify MetaMask on which location is the smart contract loaded. So we will paste it from the documentation, the address. Yes, we are allowed to use that API, and we have the interfaces here. The first method is lock. So we want to lock half Ether. So instead of putting 17 zeros here, I will put 500 Fini. And for the input of the lock method, we need the recipient in BEC32 format. So we will go to our terminal and do a BEC32 transformation of our address. we get the base32 format of our address, and we add a 0x in front, and we lock, and we of course have to sign our transaction, confirm, and after a few seconds we will see that the amount has been reduced by half. Now let's go back to our terminal and look on which sidechain epoch did the transaction occur. So we're going to call the RPC endpoint sidechain status, get status, and we will see that the current epoch is 2136 and the phase is regular, which means that on the next epoch we will query this epoch 2136 to get our Merkle proof. For now, we just have to see if our transaction is being picked as outgoing. So using the input 2136, we can do get outgoing transactions for 2136 and see that we have two of them. One somebody else did, or another one from before, and one that I did right now, which is 0.5 Ether tokens. So about 30 minutes have passed, and now we're going to go and check the status of the sidechain again. And we see that we are still in epoch 2136, but we are at the handover phase, which means that the transactions have been signed, and we can go and request for our Merkle proof. So I will request the Merkle proof for the epoch 2136 and index of transaction 1, because when we looked before, we had two transactions, 0 and 1, and this is the one that we identified that we performed. So I'm going to request the Merkle proof, and I'm going to copy it and use it to claim my tokens. I cannot do that just yet because I need to wait till the handover has happened of the sidechain epoch, but we can at least start preparing for it. So first, let's go back to our sidechains tooling repo and get the CLI. This is the sidechain CLI bundle in the releases. We go to assets, we download it. We extract it. And in the bin folder, we have the sidechain CLI, the trustless sidechain CTL, and a config JSON. The config JSON has some sidechain parameters and has some servers, the Ogmios server, the Ogmios Datum Cache server, and the CTL server that we can communicate to in order to perform some operations. Another interesting thing is the payment signing key. We can add it here instead of having to add it as an argument. So I will do exactly that. Now, what is this sidechain CLI and what can we do with it? So let's see what kind of commands does it have. We use the help command, and we see that we can do request funds instead of going through the faucet on the web UI. We can do it from here. We can burn sidechain token. We can look if there are any pending transactions. We can search for incoming transactions after they have settled on the sidechain from the main chain. And we can claim our tokens. So that's what we want to do now. Claim sidechain token. Let's see what kind of arguments it has. We need the URL. We need which is provided actually in the config file. We don't need that right now. The signing key file, I already added it on the config file. We will need to provide the combined proof. So combined proof, we paste the one that we just received from above. Now, before we run this command, we want to see, first of all, if the epoch has changed. And yes, we see epoch 2137 and epoch phase regular. Then we want to see if the relay has uploaded the latest handover. So that one is get signatures to upload. And we see that there are no signatures left to be uploaded, so that the relay has been already has worked and has uploaded all the signatures for the past transition. One more thing I have to add here before we execute the command is that the payment S key that we use for this claim has to be the same one that is associated with the recipient we used on the lock function. With that said, we can execute the command. Now this will take a few minutes, a couple minutes perhaps, because it is searching the blockchain to find the Merkle proof that we are using as proof that a lock has happened on the sidechain. And after it finds it, it will need one more Mainchain block to be executed in order for this command to terminate. Okay, a few minutes later, the claim act has happened, and now we can query our payment address. And we see that we received 500 million tokens. Remember, there is a conversion rate. One Mainchain token is 10 to the 9th sidechain tokens. So the claim operation was successful, and that concludes the active flow, transferring tokens from the sidechain to the main chain. Now for the passive flow. How do we burn some tokens on the main chain so they can appear and unlock on the sidechain? First, we have to check the sidechain CLI burn command. And that one has, again, the following arguments. Signing key, which can be also into the config file. Amount, the amount of tokens to be burned. Recipient, and the URL of the testnet. Now this one is also in the config file, so right now we're just going to need amount and recipient. So for amount, let's say 150 million. Which will appear as 0.15 on our MetaMask. And for the recipient, let's put our address. This one doesn't take too long. It just takes one Mainchain block to be minted after the transaction has been sent. But in order to see the tokens on the sidechain, we have to wait for the latest block to become stable. In our testnet, it's going to be 12 minutes. But at this moment, we can also see the transaction as pending. So let's check pending transactions. Okay, we have one transaction. Recipient is our address that we added before. And the amount is 150 million. So after the Mainchain block became stable, we can query again for pending transactions. We see that it is empty. So if we go back to our MetaMask, we will see that it has been credited by 0.15 tokens, which is equivalent to 150 million on the Mainchain. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and you can do it yourself. It's pretty easy. Thanks.